And life is about all of what you just said, which is the meaning that you give it, the thoughts that thereby birth as a result of that meaning, and then as a result of those thoughts, the emotions that those thoughts create.
The only meaning of life is whatever you assign to it. And the actions and the emotions and the behaviors and the thoughts that you are willing to have in accordance with that. Hey, everybody, it's Bianca.
And it's Emilia.
Welcome to another episode of Evolve Ventures, where we are helping growth minded humans evolve by breaking one limiting belief at a time. We hope you enjoyed the last episode, number 318, The Paradox Between Hope and Belief You Have to Learn. Super interesting episode. So cool. For today, 319, Motivation Monday, the meaning of life. Before Emilia and I jumped in here, she's like, B, what is this episode? I'm so excited to talk about this because this is a question I get at least once a day. Not necessarily like, what is the meaning of life, but more so, what am I supposed to be doing? What are we all here for? What is the purpose of all of this? And
Mhm.
I had a session with a client today. We started a couple of months ago. I adore him. Um, but we had this dialogue today. He's like, we kind of all just get stuck in this trap of
Mm.
going to work, coming home, having maybe an hour or two to eat, be with your family, and then you just wake up the next day and do it all over again. And he was like, "Is that all there is? Like is that it? Is that really just what life is about? You just in this cycle and in this pattern over and over again?" I hear this question every single day of like, is this really all there is? Is this really just is this it? And it's why I felt so compelled to do this episode because we all struggle with this. And honestly, I think it relates to the last episode regarding having hope for a better future and having the belief that you're actually capable of doing it. I want to go on the record saying, no, that is not all there is, but it's what we're all accustomed to. And it's what a lot of us feel trapped in, meaning that rat race of go to school, graduate, get a job, get married, have kids, and that's it. That's your whole life. 2.5 kids, you go on a vacation maybe every year. Every year
Mhm.
you have to level up and get the new iPhone and the new car and the this and the that. And we're all just stuck in the keeping up with the Joneses pattern, even though none of us think that's what we're doing, but it's exactly what we're doing. So I want to go on record saying that is not all there is. That is not what life is.
Mhm.
Life is whatever you want it to be. But a huge aspect of that is believing in yourself that you are capable of living a life on your terms. So, what I said to him was, okay, let me ask you a question. Are you actually happy in your life? And he's like, absolutely not, not even a little bit. And I was like, what would happen if you were to change? He's like, well, I can't because I make a lot of money at my job and we're doing all of these things for our kids and they're in private school and we have to make the monthly car payments and we have this house that we have to pay for. And I was like, okay, if you left your job, what would happen? If you left this really, really demanding job that you hate
Mhm.
and went somewhere that was less hours, less intense, and you made less money, and you could see his entire energy in his face. He kind of relaxed a little bit.
Mhm.
I was like, what would happen? And he was struggling to answer. And I was like, you'd probably have to pull your kids out of private school.
Mhm.
You'd probably have to downsize some things. But would your quality of life be better? And he was like, 100%. I'm like, how probable is it that you would do that though? because appearance wise, you would quote unquote look less than.
Mhm.
That is why so many of us don't actually live a life that is meaningful to us because we're more afraid of the negative perceptions and implications of the people around us than we are actually living a life that matters and means something to us. And I know I sound super Pollyanna right now of like, we can all just be happy and everything's going to be amazing. That's not what I'm saying at all because I've
Mm,
done it, because Emilia has done it. I'm on my way. I'm not fully there yet, but I'm on the path. I don't live a
mhm,
normal life, not even in the slightest.
mhm,
Most of my day is working and going to the gym, but I love it. I
mhm,
enjoy it. I'm fulfilled. Yeah, I don't have a super amazing car and whatever, but like, I don't care about that. I will in the future because the work I'm putting in today will pay off eventually. But like, I'm not living for that.
mhm.
Because if I were, I would have already bought a nicer car. I already did that. I did that when I got my Jeep. It was the dumbest decision I ever made in my life. The only meaning of life is whatever you assign to it. And the actions and the emotions and the behaviors and the thoughts that you are willing to have in accordance with that.
Mm. Very true.
Are you shook?
I love the dialogue, to be quite frank, because I we're talking existentialist conversations. What is the meaning of life? I mean, it doesn't really get deeper than that.
I know you
Aside from,
adore it.
I absolutely
What
adore
is
it.
life after death?
I've always had an existentialist mindset, and been surrounded by people that are the complete opposite. This has been a question that I've been constantly racking my brain at over and over and over and over and over again for funsies, right? And the
For
answer
funsies.
always comes back down to exactly what you said. Life is exactly the meaning that you give it. And life is about all of what you just said, which is the meaning that you give it, the thoughts that thereby birth as a result of that meaning, and then as a result of those thoughts, the emotions that those thoughts create, and the emotions that then conduct our behaviors and establish our habits and keep us in specific patterns of cyclical actions, thoughts, and
Mhm.
behaviors, and that compounded over time is exactly what our life is meant to demonstrate, meant to be. It's the space in between the dash. If you look at someone's grave, it's they were born at this date and then they died at this date, and it's the dash that really is all the meaning, because truth be told, that's what's going to be the story, or that's what lives on
Yeah.
beyond your form of life right now. So
It's your legacy.
it is. And it is, I think of it as kind of like the ecosystem of like a tree. When a tree is done with its physical form lifespan, it gets into and becomes the food of the critters and the worms and all of the bacteria that are in the soil. So, but that all cycles itself. So it's all this beautiful cycle that just changes form. And I find that so many individuals, unfortunately, are never really taught, number one, that they have a choice to change what that meaning is. They're not really encouraged to do so, and or they live in a social pattern that reinforces a meaning of life that is outside what they know it to be, deep, 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 deep down. And that's why you have this, let's keep up with the Joneses, let's do what my family thinks is best for me, let's do what my culture believes is best for me, let's do all of these things that social proof our existence in this life, even at the expense of my quality of life, even at the expense of even my own personal values, my own personal morals, my own personal ethics. And That is what I consider decay when it comes to this world, because we are all
I
just kind of like
agree.
dying inside, right? We're slowly dying inside and suffocating ourselves from the inside out. And truth be told, little children see that in adults and they understand which adults are thriving and surviving, or thriving, and they understand which ones are just getting by, right? And so I believe it's personally our responsibility to understand and answer that question, what is the meaning of life? And I love the fact that that client that you had that honest dialogue with was so vulnerable to ask you and to really just be open to having a dialogue, because I find that it's in those really vulnerable moments that you just open up to someone who has a more empowering meaning of life. And it's that can change the entire trajectory, the entire meaning of someone's life. And that can save lives. It does save lives.
We're all looking for permission to live the life that is actually true to us and to not feel so bogged down by the expectations that other people hold on us. And
Mhm.
it's been a really amazing journey for me because I was one of the first people in my entire family unit to stop living the way that everybody expected. And I've had so many people reach out to me being like, "Thank you for talking about this. Thank
Mhm.
you
Same.
for, you know, really being open about how toxic our culture is. Like, it's not okay." And having somebody who has done it gives everyone else the permission to feel like it's possible for them to do the same. So the purpose of this is not to be morbid and be like, it is your eternal responsibility. Like, no. What we're saying is this is your life. Yes, we feel the pressure of the opinions, beliefs, and expectations of other people. And at the end of the day, you have to go to bed with yourself and look at yourself in the mirror.
Mhm.
Are you capable of doing that? Given the life that you're living, I wasn't. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I was
Mhm.
lying about so much of my life. I was hiding so much of myself. I was a shell of the person I wanted to be. And so I wasn't happy. I was so unfulfilled. I was engaging in really unhelpful behavior. I wasn't living a life that meant something to me. And now I am because I realized that nothing mattered aside from me and my fulfillment. And I know that sounds so selfish, but I've helped hundreds, if not thousands of people at this point because I chose to live a life that meant something to me, that
Mhm.
mattered to me. And to quote a famous philosopher,
Mm.
life's what you make it, so let's make it rock. Hashtag Hannah
Mhm.
Montana.
Oh, that's cute.
I had to add the humor at the end.
Love it. No, it's really wonderful. And, there's so many people that we've been able to impact as a result of you and I questioning what is the
Yeah.
meaning of life and not just going with what we were raised. Like I remember a distinct moment when my dad, like he had like given me an article clipping that was like, this is what you are. And it's like, free thinker. I'm like, yes, thank you for finally learning that I am not going to accept any cultural, any familial patterns that are not going to serve, truth be told, a fulfilling meaning of life for me. Because I know
Yeah,
it's, or I take it as my responsibility to answer that question and to uncover what that looks like for me so that other people
100%.
can learn how and get that permission slip to do so for them too. And be you and I have people that reach out from us from all corners of the world who say thank you for doing that, because truth be told, that takes a lot of courage. So,
If you need help doing this, the You Do You program is exactly what you need. It is a very safe, it is a very light, no pressure, very little accountability program that will give you the permission to dip your toe into doing this and into just having someone in your corner, having someone in your pocket
mhm.
that can that can guide you through this. It's a coaching and or therapy program. You choose the pace, you choose the rate, you choose, you know, how you show up. You do you.
Whoop.
If that's something you're interested in, click the link in the description of this episode. It'll send you right to the page that'll give you all the information for it.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Ma'am.
In closing, my podcast episode suggestion for all of y'all to jump to after this one is 276 Loss Isn't Easy. Here's how to start healing. Bianca
Mm.
Thomas. What is yours?
Oh my God, you get my full government. No, I'm just kidding. 294. How to stop accepting breadcrumbs from others. And when you're listening to that, how to stop accepting breadcrumbs from yourself.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody. Go crush your week. We'll see you next time. Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.